Life really begins at 40. This quote by Carl Jung reflects a profound perspective on human psychology and individual development. According to Jung, the period before the age of 40 is a time during which a person's identity is shaped under the influence of external factors, such as societal expectations, family, education, and career. However, after the age of 40, a person begins to turn inward and embarks on a true path of self-discovery. The first awakening, 40 to 45 years. At the age of 40, a deep inner awakening begins. In the first half of life, a person largely acts according to societal expectations and is focused on external goals such as education, career, family, and social status. However, after 40, a period of internal questioning begins. The personality, previously built with great ambition and effort, no longer brings the satisfaction it once did. A person may realize that the roles and achievements that once defined them in youth do not reflect their true self. This is when Jung's concept of individuation comes into play. People feel the need to remove the masks imposed by society and reach their true essence. This awakening usually appears as inner restlessness. Things that once held meaning no longer bring excitement. If someone is not satisfied with their achievements or possessions, they begin to ask, why? Perhaps they've reached the peak of their career, but the success didn't bring the happiness they expected. Or they realize that something is missing in the relationships they've had for years. This inner unrest may emerge as a crisis. One might feel their life is headed in the wrong direction and desire radical change. At this point, it is common to make decisions such as changing jobs, getting married or divorced, moving to a new city, or picking up new hobbies. But real transformation must come from within. According to Jung, at this age, repressed and hidden aspects of the psyche begin to surface. The subconscious makes itself more known. As people begin to question the values they have accepted over their lifetime, they become more inclined to understand who they are and what they truly want. This process is both liberating and painful. As the old identity dissolves, it is unclear what will take its place. Breaking long-held patterns of behavior can be terrifying. But behind that fear lies great potential, the opportunity to discover one's true self. Jung believed that the key to happiness and peace in the second half of life is to stop chasing external success and instead focus on inner fulfillment. This is the awakening phase, when a person begins to understand their soul and listen to their inner voice. Interest in spirituality, philosophy, art, or personal development often increases. Life is no longer just about work and financial gain. Inner satisfaction, spiritual wholeness, and meaningful relationships become more important. Reevaluation, 45 to 50 years. By the age of 45, a person begins to fully recognize that they are in the second half of life. The awakening of their early 40s exposed inner conflicts and led to doubts about their previous life path. But awareness alone is not enough. A conscious process of reevaluation is necessary. This period is a critical threshold. The person looks in the mirror and begins to plan their life anew. Questions arise. Who am I? Why do I live? What really matters to me? They reassess their old ideals, dreams, and goals. They may realize they've achieved all they set out to, but it brought little joy. Or worse, they've been living a life that never truly felt like their own. Deep reflection on career, family, relationships, and personal values intensifies. Some stay on their path, feeling it's the right one. Others realize they are off course and need to make major changes. This might involve a career change, ending or beginning a relationship, launching a new project, or returning to long-lost passions. Superficial values begin to lose their hold. What matters most is listening to oneself and honestly answering the question, what do I truly want? Jungian psychology emphasizes that this period is a key stage of individuation. The individual begins to step beyond social roles in pursuit of inner wholeness. Inner fears, long-buried desires, and forgotten parts of the self rise to the surface. This can be painful, but is necessary. Emotional instability is common in this phase. Regrets may arise. I wish I had chosen a different career. I should have traveled more. I spent my life working. The reality of aging becomes apparent. The body and mind are changing. But instead of panic, wisdom begins to emerge. A new phase has begun, with its own gifts. People begin to simplify their lives, let go of unnecessary burdens, and abandon outdated beliefs and habits. Life becomes more conscious. People stop listening to society's voice and begin to follow their own. Establishing balance. 55 years. After the emotional waves of awakening and reevaluation, a new stage of balance begins. The past is understood. Pain has subsided. Now comes clarity. Who was I, and who do I want to be next? A person achieves maturity. They consciously shape a new life. They're no longer driven by ambition, but by the pursuit of inner peace. Priorities shift. Calm, meaningful relationships, stillness, and emotional serenity come to the forefront. Achievements are no longer the goal, but a means to inner well-being. People realize that happiness comes not from money or status, but from time, attention, love, freedom, and purpose. They let go of the excessive, unnecessary obligations, relationships, and possessions. They seek simplicity. They simplify routines. They engage in beloved hobbies. Time becomes the most precious resource. Balance between body and soul becomes essential. People treat their health more carefully. They observe their bodies and understand that energy is fading. And that's okay. The main goal now is to live in their own rhythm. Relationships grow deeper and more sincere. Communication becomes less frequent but more meaningful. Only those who truly matter remain. Deepening wisdom. 55 to 60 years. At 55, a person enters one of life's deepest and most meaningful stages. The awakening, reevaluation, and balancing process have changed them. They now view life differently. What matters now is not just life itself, but the meaning extracted from it. Past experiences become a source of wisdom. The individual learns to distinguish what is truly important and explores deeper layers of existence. These years bring a heightened awareness of life's brevity. Time, once endless, now feels limited. But this does not cause anxiety. It inspires mindfulness. Every moment is treasured. There's a desire to be free of unnecessary worries and chaos. It becomes clear that many of the things once pursued were never truly important. This realization brings liberation. Wisdom gained at this stage transforms one's relationship with oneself and the world. No longer chasing goals, one begins to savor the present moment. The search for peace and inner harmony takes precedence. The person no longer sees themselves as separate, but as part of the whole. They feel connected to nature, the universe, and existence. In Jungian terms, this is a late phase of self-actualization. The ego takes a back seat. There's no more struggle for validation or control. Instead, they wish to share their experiences. Some become mentors, teachers, or creators. Others simply guide through their presence. True wisdom lies not in advice, but in presence. A quiet conversation, a walk in nature, a grandchild's laughter, these become sacred. Physical aging is acknowledged not as loss, but as a natural process. Youthful energy is replaced by depth. The individual accepts their body, changes, and limitations. True wisdom means not only knowing, but accepting, not fighting, but living, not rewriting the past, but embracing the now. Perhaps the greatest outcome of this phase is inner peace. No longer troubled by the future or the past, one lives in the moment. Life is no longer a battlefield. It is a journey, one of discovery, acceptance, and understanding.